Well, good morning, everybody. I am just doing something on Twitch. In fact, I'm just checking to make sure I've got my advertising working on Twitch, as was suggested yesterday. And I seem to have tags present, so I guess I must have something, right? It all seems to be working. Hello. So, where am I? Yesterday, I attempted to go to the trapper's cabin, displayed on the screen. And because I can't read a map in the long dark, I went in completely the wrong direction. So I ended up at the Carter Hydroelectric Dam. So I have two choices today. The first of those is to proceed to Pleasant Valley, and the second is to actually try to get to the trapper's cabin. Seeing as that was my original goal, that is actually what I'm kind of tempted to attempt, because it has, I think, a few things there that I could use, and I have a few things at the ranger outpost that I would like possibly to bring with me to Pleasant Valley. So I'm inclined to go to do that, go to the trapper's cabin as was my original intent, and then set myself up to go to Pleasant Valley, which will probably get me killed, but if nothing else that might prove to be rather entertaining. So, let us be about it. And as I recall, it was, yes, still relatively early in the day, and I don't think there is much for me to do precisely. I certainly don't have the time, I do not think. Yes. This is not the kind of environment I wish to be taking long trips on. So let me just show you. I am currently up here. Pleasant Valley is off up in this general direction. And what I had intended to do was actually go over there. But I went that way. Another possibility actually is to make my way up to the radio tower. And I might be accused of being too cautious, but I do have 100 days in, so... And my goal is survival rather than adventure. As if I haven't had enough adventure to last me a lifetime so far. So yes, I can go over there, pick up some stuff. Oh, it's called the Trapper's Homestead. I always call it the Trapper's Cabin or the Trapper's Outpost. That is the camp office, and I usually call it the Ranger's Outpost. And yes, I do get this name more or less right these days. And this, of course, is the lake, with which I am moderately familiar. So that's my current situation. I am completely on the totally wrong end of where I want to be. Fortunately, I have some meat here, and I have a couple of MREs. I'll grab some charcoal. Now, this is kind of irritating. Have I checked up here? It's a bit of a tendency to check everywhere 3 times, just in case you missed something. Curiously, after following Bubba's advice yesterday, I set up to run Sky, Children of the Light, and I did include, various tags, and I achieved a first. Somebody I didn't know ended up chatting with me on the Twitch stream. And that's the first time somebody I don't know's done that, so they did find me. And it turns out they may be interested in doing a collaboration, which of course I am definitely going to consider. We'll see what happens with that. It all will depend on what it is they wish to collaborate on. I haven't seen any of that person's live streams yet. They don't have any archived. So it's going to kind of depend on what they wish to stream and what their individual style is like, because I obviously have my own, hopefully distinctive style, and it would kind of need to be compatible. And I assume that when 2 people are collaborating, 2 or more are collaborating on a live stream, that it would have to be a multiplayer game. So it's certainly worth consideration. Yes, I'm just wandering around. I wonder if our friendly local wolf is out. Ooh, I just had a thought. How much water have I got? I've got 1.48 litres there, and I know I've got some on the floor here, so that should be enough for the night. I do have water here. Yes, I do. Yes. Okay, that's good to know. Is there anything I might want to take with me? I might leave those for the sojourn into Pleasant Valley at some future time. I don't really need the food. I might as well leave the hunting knives. I think I've got several of those. I've never used the spray paint. I have not really used it yet. One thing I could definitely do with is a hacksaw. I think my last hacksaw is currently happily residing in Milton and is almost used up. Yeah. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm running out of fuel here. There, that's got a tiny bit in it. Where's my other one? Ooh, that's interesting. Not that interesting. Oh, I do have cured rabbit pelts here. Do I have anything in here? I do not. I pretty much checked everywhere in here. Because one thing I sort of need is scrap metal, which I seem to be fresh out of, so I definitely need a hacksaw. So actually making it up to the radio tower, I don't see why logically in game anybody would, with the apocalypse coming up, leave a hacksaw up on a radio tower. But you know, Since when does video game logic necessarily make perfect sense? And I imagine if you did make a video game which made perfect sense logically, it probably wouldn't be as fun to play. Oh, I forgot something. I don't need the restream screen up. Oh, I know one thing I forgot to do. I forgot to enable the chat screen. I'll leave it off until I do get some chat going on. So, what other projects am I working on at the moment? I've got something going on for Sky Children of the Light. One of my accounts is pushing 200 wings, so I'm in the process of putting a video together about that. I need at least one more video of her actually getting her 200th wing. And then I'm going to have to learn some editing skills about how to do scene transitions, which at the moment I have absolutely no idea how to do, but I imagine it must be possible. It's interesting that in the game, in this environment, I suppose it would be asking a bit much, but one thing you might expect to find is smokeless powder, but I suppose that would be pushing things a little bit too much. Although it's interesting that their recipe for gunpowder in the game is actually the same as for black powder. Now, with the weapons that we have, the revolver and the rifle, I don't know what the revolver is, but you could certainly reload with black powder and lead and have... It wouldn't be as powerful as the original cartridge. I mean, for example, if you took, say, a 44 Magnum and filled it up with black powder and seated a lead bullet over it, you'd get something. It would go bang, and it would be quite effective. It wouldn't be no 44 Magnum, and I'm trying to guess what you might get out of it. I don't know, 240 grain bullet at 800 feet per second, maybe? Maybe? That sounds a little... Yeah, it sounds like it might be a bit on the high side. And of course the rifle you have is a 303, and the interesting thing about the 303 was it did in fact start out as a black powder cartridge. And you could just pack that full of black powder, compress it as much as you could, and seat a lead bullet over it, and that would work in a excuse me, that would certainly work in a bolt-action rifle. Oh, there's my friendly wolf. Well, not so friendly. Can't remember the ballistics for the black powder load in the 303. I can't imagine it was more than 1400, 1500 feet per second. The smokeless load added about 600 feet per second to that, but it's, you know, it's still, it would work. It would definitely work. And if you used the traditional 303 bullet, as the British used, it would be about 215 grains. That's near enough half an ounce. And yeah, that would work on deer. So in a way, what they're proposing is moderately realistic. Yeah, I just need to waste time until the day has almost ended, and then I should get on, I think. And that is creepy as heck. That's my first challenge, getting out of here, not being attacked by the wolf. Yesterday I did in fact get somewhat pursued to this gate. It's a shame you can't shoot an arrow through the fence. Oh, he's getting suitably tired. That definitely does fall into full-blown creepy. I've never heard wolves in real life. I've heard coyotes, I think. One of the creepiest sounds I ever heard, actually, at night was a cat. Hi, Brendan. Ah, you're new. Hang on a second. Given that we now have chat going, I can switch on the chat screen. And now my video has context. Grief, what did you miss? How do I summarize over 100 days in this run into 5 minutes? Let's see. Actually, the simplest way to demonstrate what you might have missed is if I simply show you what I'm wearing, because it gives you some idea. There you go. So I've been in game long enough that I have made deerskin boots, deerskin pants, wolfskin coat, and rabbitskin hat and gloves. I've also determined that wearing jeans yeah, 100 days, only 100 days, I'm afraid. No, that's 100 in-game days. It is hard. If you go back through my playlist, you'll see 2 or 3 times where I died. So and this is one of the easier levels. This is the level known as Voyager, which is the second easiest. And this level will kill you in a heartbeat if you get something wrong. If and when I die in this, I will start a new game and I will go to the next level, which should be Interloper. But yes, no, I mean I can get I've been attacked by wolves, directly attacked, as in I suffered injuries twice, and so far I've managed to recover and get away with it. I got charged by a moose. The moose will trample you, but unfortunately for the moose, I had a rifle. Hi, Nelson. No, it's not the case of the more you die, the harder it gets. It's a case of the longer you're in the game, the more likely you are to encounter situations. How much of the world have I explored? Let's see. Primarily Milton and Mystery Lake. My goal here isn't so much exploration as it is pure survival. I'm accused of being timid. There is some truth to that, but also in a real world situation, if you're in a survival position, the fewer risks you take, the better. And Nelson, you may be curious to know, you are the second person I don't know who has engaged me in Twitch chat. So congratulations. I hope everybody is following and or subscribed. I am in my process of making my way to 100 subscribers on YouTube, and I am starting to consider what I might do for a 100 subscriber special. Yes, and if I well, my goal for the morning live stream is I will stay in the Long Dark as long as I can. I'm not just going to stop the game and switch to Interloper. There is a possibility, and it's only a possibility, that instead of the random games I stream in the evenings, I might start another Long Dark game, but this time on Interloper, and then start in the places I'm familiar with. Oh, thank you, Brendan. 85. I appreciate that. At this rate, there's half a chance I might make 100 by the end of the month. That would be nice. I think I hit 60 on January 12th. Right. I think it's late enough that I can get away with going to bed. Oh. That would make Interloper more of a challenge, but nonetheless, the next after the next death, I will start again on Interloper. What am I doing? I'm eating, aren't I? Yes, I would dispute that too easy. I tell the story of one time I started, I think it was on Voyager, and I started in Mystery Lake. And so I spawn in, and there is a moose right in front of me. Or at least I had to walk a little way downhill, I think it was, and then there was a moose. And I didn't know this about moose getting irritated at you, but the moose promptly charged me and trampled me. Did a lot of damage, and in-game, as I stagger to my feet, the moose promptly charges me again, and I die. I think my total in-game time was 5 minutes. Which I have to admit I thought was hilarious. Whoops. Yep, it's dark. Yes, there was a time I used to do a rant about survival programs on TV, and that how no one should ever take Bear Grylls survival programs seriously, because that man is doing entertainment, and so what he does doesn't count. He does a lot of stuff that he really probably only gets away with because he's got a full team with him. So far from what I've seen in terms of survival programs, the best ones are by Les Stroud. And you can actually on occasion see him getting into trouble. Right, end of rant about survival programs for TV. Here we go, 102 days. Too early. Oh, way too early. Way too cold. Hang on. That was... Sorry. The Long Dark has this thing it does, where you think your screen has the focus, and then suddenly the mouse cursor will suddenly go off the screen, and that's what just happened there. And I need to make the text in that chat a bit bigger, but I don't think I can do it on the fly, so I won't worry about it for now. What time is it? Oh no, I've got time to pass. How do I get rid of those cheap viewers on whatever messages? I don't seem to find a way to block them, and they always show up. What is the goal for this run? Probably head back to the Rangers station / outpost, and then go to... It did it again. Then go to the trapper's cabin, which is what I was planning on doing when I came here. Then possibly go up to the radio tower, because I haven't been there. And, well, it won't be today, but then possibly go through to Pleasant Valley. Just to keep interest going, really. I mean, in reality, I would stay in any one location as long as I could until I had exhausted the resources. But yeah, what did I do last time? Last time I was able to make the moose skin satchel. I've got a whole bunch of meat back at the Rangers outpost. Don't think I need anything here. I can leave it. I'll leave that for next time. Oh, take my bedroll with me. So as you can see right now, I still have quite a bit of weight carrying capacity. No one should, by the way, should ever regard me as being adept at this game. Nope, still too cold. I would be in serious trouble before I got to the lake. Yeah, that would not be a good thing. And I think there will be 2 wolves. I mean, the one here, obviously, but there was one near the overturned... Oh no, he's back, isn't he? Yeah, the overturned railway carriage. I did shoot that one, and in fact I think I'm wearing it. Brendan, no, the end to the Long Dark is, in this mode, is basically you die. Sooner or later, I think you'll die. Although, I believe the world record is... oh, hang on. This is interesting. No, don't want to do that. Sorry. Okay. The world record, I understand, for surviving in the Long Dark is 11,000 days. But sooner or later, I suppose, yes, you would. I used to say that possibly the limiting factor would be your ability to make fire. and sooner or later you'll run out of matches. You'll run out of strikers. I don't know if the magnifying glass can run out, because I do have a magnifying glass. No, the magnifying glass doesn't look like it runs out. So in principle, if you've got the magnifying glass, and if you are making water on the fly, and you have a nice supply of it, as you can see, I started building up a supply here. You could survive quite a long time. Right. But I'm not an expert. The people who there's a couple of the people who watch this stream, they've got far more experience than I do. Very tempted to just get going. Well, yes, like I can sort of now that I know more about the magnifying glass, yes, I can see that would be the case. Oh, it did it again. Oh, heck. Excuse me a second. I had to spend all night in that truck once because I was suffering from cabin fever. So
all I can think about is food.
I had one person, I can't remember, I think it was actually on YouTube, comment that they like watching players new to a game learning how to play it. Well, if you're watching me learn how to play it. Oh good, it's warm enough. I haven't yet shot a wolf with a bow. I'm not sure if that would be regarded as a viable goal. I'm going to try and go around. While I have survived 2 wolf attacks with surprisingly minor injuries, I don't really want to push my luck any more than I have to. Next time I might not be so lucky. Oh, there he is. There's the one in the river. Not sure about the tactic of no, I can't really imagine myself in a long dark scenario. I've got no survival training beyond the odd little tips and tricks I've sort of accumulated, but that's mostly because I've either read the right things or watched the right things. I would probably be dead in a heartbeat if this was if I had to do this in reality. I mean, my only thing about I do know a bit about firearms. I have got some minor history in shooting firearms. And in principle I could make a bow, because I know how to make a bundle bow. The major problem for anybody here with this consistent cold would be getting enough calories just to survive. That would be a major problem. Oh, there he is. Let's see if I can just... Yeah, because this is minus 20 odd degree weather. I've been in minus 20 degree weather when I had a nice place to stay at night, and I had food. This would get debilitating very quickly. So that's two dangers that I haven't had to deal with. The third one is the moose, because there is a moose ahead potentially. I know this because I shot it, and that was a few days ago, so there's the possibility it will respawn. I was very surprised. I was told a moose could spawn in this region up here, and so I step out of the hut to do something, and the moose is practically right in front of me, and of course I could not resist but take a shot at it with the rifle, which ended up irritating it. And in fact, I was up here. Where was I? I know I can find it because there's a campfire right next to it. Yes, I was in this region here, and the moose came charging up there, and fortunately I was able to hit it at absolute point blank range, and it dropped dead. And so that marks where I butchered it. So in a bit, not today, I'll head for the trapper's cabin in that way. If I have a goal like go to the trapper's cabin, it's not something I'll, so I came from the hydroelectric dam to here. Fine, that's my goal for the day. I don't need to shoot the deer, by the way. I've got plenty of moose meat. So tomorrow I'll head for the trapper's cabin and pick up my stuff, because I'm pretty certain I left a couple of bows there that I found and a couple of hatchets, and I would like to get those into a more central location, because this bow that I'm using is not going to last forever. There's my... Oh, it's ruined. That was my cabin fever cure. Oh, the thing is, yeah, these are relatively safe, but in fact, a certain number of people are killed every year by deer. If you catch them in a bad moment, those horns, those antlers can do you a fair degree of damage, and I wouldn't want to be trampled by one. So here's my moose supply and venison and rabbit, and yeah, I'm not going to touch the ruined wolf meat. Yeah, the shooting the deer aspect of it always slightly bothers me. I mean, I grew up in a hunting environment. Not because, it was a sport, but because we had to. And so there's a little part of me, when you shoot one of those, they almost always run, and then you've got to track it, which is not unrealistic. I don't like shooting deer in the evening, because then I probably won't have the time to find it. Normally, I've lost 2 deer, never found their bodies, even though there was a blood trail. But one over there in that general direction, I was actually able to track it and find it, which was nice. And another one I shot literally dropped dead in front of me, which saved me a lot of trouble. But no, a shot deer, will, unless you make a central nervous system shot on a deer, it will almost certainly run. Forget that rubbish about shooting them in the head. That's actually a very difficult target. So here's my various supplies. There's my wolfskin pelt. Yeah, I've got 18 gut from the moose, and that's going to be my next bow. Yes, I have stuff here. I've got stuff back in Milton as well, at the farmhouse and at the big house in Milton. What am I doing? I've been told I should make crampons. What do I need for crampons? Cured leather. Okay, I can make cured leather. Somebody give me... I think I can make cured leather out of this, can't I? I thought I could make cured leather out of that. Oh, hang on. I thought you could make cured leather out of... Thought I could make that. I cannot? I thought I could make leather out of... I thought I could make... I thought I could make leather out of rabbit skin, to be honest with you. Is that not something you can do? I could have sworn you could. I could have sworn there was a way. I could have sworn you could make cured leather. Nonetheless, I should have something I can. I have a pair of shoes up here, do I not? There we go. Yeah, yeah, that was in my childhood, and circumstances meant that hunting basically put meat on our table. And this was England, so not that common a thing in England. Yay! Oops. Went the wrong way. Honestly, it's been a while. I can't remember the details. I mean, from among other things, you have to have permission. You either have to own the land, or you have to have access to land, and you have to have permission from the landowner if that's the case. You can certainly get firearms in England. It's just not as easy as it used to be. And despite, and I think I've talked about this before, despite Americans' perception of what firearms regulations are like around the world, even in countries which you might think are really, really restrictive, you can actually own firearms and go hunting. Most of the time there are ways to do it. I can't answer for all countries. I mean, I know that, I don't know whether it's still the case, but in Hong Kong, for example, there is in fact a hunting club, and they go hunting feral pigs in Hong Kong. So there are, even in Hong Kong, there are ways of going hunting. And I've said this before too. In Europe, there is definitely quite a firearms community and hunting community. Yes, they're regulated, and you can debate about whether they should be as regulated, but that's not really the subject of this. But it's definitely possible, in some respects, to be a firearms owner in a large part of Europe. You have to demonstrate that you've been trained. You have to demonstrate that you're responsible. You have to demonstrate that you don't have mental illness, this sort of thing. Which doesn't strike me as being too silly, to be honest. Excuse me. Coffee warning. Hang on, sorry Brendan, I started talking and didn't realize I had muted the microphone while I drank coffee. Yes, the type of firearms, but then I think you have that in the States as well. You can't just go hunting bear with a 2.2 rimfire, I don't think. For hunting deer in this country, the minimum rifle that you could use was 243, which makes a sort of sense. And the whole intent of that is to try and minimize the risk that you're basically going to get somebody shooting a deer and have lots of dead and wounded deer all over the place. So I don't have a huge problem with it. The time that you can hunt makes sense because you don't want to hunt deer, for example, that are pregnant. So during the breeding season, you can't hunt does. Why? Because obviously you want the does to breed. I can't remember all of them. Rabbits, I don't think there is a season on. I don't know so much about ducks, geese, and pigeons. There's no season on, I don't think. Not sure about ducks and geese. I think it's because rabbits are considered pest animals, which to some extent they are. Rabbits are not indigenous to the United Kingdom. They were introduced by, I think it was the Normans. But they didn't explode in population, I don't think, for several centuries. But I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me, whatever you do. Right. Let's have a little look and see what the weather's like. That's my stash of firewood. Yeah, I don't understand all the regulations, but I suspect if I ever went and studied it, I might understand some of the logic. But you also have to bear in mind my background in hunting comes from necessity rather than as for fun or for sport. And that's a different way of doing things. I've got a suspicion in some areas of the United States an expanded hunting season for, say, deer might actually be beneficial, because in parts of the states the natural predators of the deer have been hunted out. The place is actually overrun in places with deer. The presence of predators has been demonstrated actually to be good for ecology. And if you have removed the predators, then you've got an unbalanced ecology. When they introduced wolves back to Yellowstone, they determined that in fact the ecology of Yellowstone improved as a result. And I would have to go and look it up if I wanted to talk more about it. Oh, this is not looking like weather I wish to go out in. It really doesn't. This is, you'll die of the cold and your clothes will get soaked. This is not conducive. I need to rebuild my snow shelter. I wonder, how many sticks did I collect? Yeah, I don't think you can hunt with black powder weapons in this country. Oh, I had a thought, and now it has completely gone. Anybody know what I was thinking about? Oh, yes. No, you don't know, but I do. Right, so I've got a stick. Okay. And I've got cloth. I need 5 cloth and 15 sticks. So I know I've got cloth. I'm just thinking about rebuilding my where did I know that, here we go. Just thinking about rebuilding the snow shelter, because that's been a lifesaver. Oh, what some of the mountain men got up to can be absolutely
Need a horse.
incredible. Some of them were... It's fairly staggering what they survived. Look up Hugh Glass sometime. What he survived after being mauled by a bear was incredible. You wouldn't think that that was possible, but he did it. Guess I'm going to be making a bow. Yeah, I'm pretty certain you're limited. You're limited in this country as well.
I could eat anything right now.
Yay! I have a new bow. That makes me feel a little more comfortable.
Need something to eat.
Now, what can I do with the old one? Can I... Where's my old bow gone? Why am I still carrying that around? Okay, I just have to... It's my backup. Where did I put it? I didn't realize I was I didn't realize I was carrying a storm lantern. Never mind. I can refill it. Where is... Wow, that's a good fuel supply I've got there. That's nice to have. But I don't technically need that. Or that. Yeah, and I lived in the States for 16 years, and I was a shooter and hand loader for most of that time, but I forget any rules and regulations. Weather improved. Let's see if I can find some sticks. Where haven't I looked for sticks lately? I used to think this trail was a useful way to get me around one of the wolves, and then I found out there's actually a wolf at the mouth of the trail. Fortunately, so far, it's run away from me. Oh, right, here we go. This should be... Oh, thanks. And one of my, I'm trying to remember. There's a Canadian YouTube channel called British Muzzleloaders, which does a lot of black powder stuff. There is I think he's Hungarian YouTube channel. I don't know whether he's still going. I think it was called Cap and Ball. A lot of the stuff he did was black powder. There is a British YouTube channel operated where the two participants operate out of Switzerland, and it is called Bloke on the Range. They do quite a bit of black powder, and I think at one point he did go into a great deal of detail about Swiss firearms laws, if you want information on that. Because the Swiss firearms laws are not what you might think. Americans seem to think there's almost no firearms laws in Switzerland. No, that's most certainly not true. They are quite rigid, but it doesn't stop channels like Bloke on the Range. I got 10. Alright, and if I'm lucky, I should have more upstairs. And we are now coming up to the midstream break, where my bladder and the amount of coffee I have consumed says now would be probably a good time to take a little break. So I will be gone for about 3 or 4 minutes. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves or take a break yourselves, and I will be back shortly. And you'll know I'm back because the webcam video will show my ugly face again. And I'm back. Yeah, Hugh Glass's story is absolutely... Oops, I forgot something. Hugh Glass's story is absolutely remarkable. He apparently did find the two people who had left him behind. One of them he basically forgave because of his youth. The other man, and I don't remember the names, I apologize. The other man, I believe did he get his rifle back? And $300 in compensation, which would have been a substantial amount, and basically told him if he ever saw him again, he'd kill him. Glass himself went back to being a mountain person, and he got killed in a fight with Native Americans. I can't remember the tribe. Yes, it's unsure whether that was the mountain man Jim Bridger. The name given, I believe, is, you're correct, Bridges. I think this might be a better place for my... Let's see if I can put a snow shelter here while I think about it. Oh, 15 sticks and 5 cloth. Do I not have 15 sticks? I have 14 sticks. Anybody got a stick? I just want one stick. One stick only. But yes, it was a remarkable story of survival, and his, I don't believe, is the only one. His injuries were pretty terrible. I know of another guy, and I can't remember. It's not. I'm pretty certain it's not the same person. He actually had his scalp mostly ripped off by a bear, and they just basically bound his scalp back to his head, and yeah, he survived. Imagine he had some pretty vicious scars after that. I want a stick. I suppose technically what I ought to do is carry the makings of a snow shelter with me wherever I go. That would probably be a wise thing. That's right, the Arikara, thank you. With my memory these days, I sort of tend to remember the incident, and then if I need details, go look it up. Or I remember the something, and I go look it up. Tends to be what I do these days. Oh, might as well grab that. I'll pick up a stick on the way. This is quite a pretty time of day.
Sun's setting. It's gonna get a lot colder soon.
I'm sure at some point I must have read books, articles, something like that about various people and the remarkable things that they survived in the Old West. Interesting thing to bear in mind. You know, human beings could do exactly the same now. We'd just need to have the right set of circumstances. What, Bridges? Or Glass? Shows up in World of Warcraft. Oh, I forgot. I need my dinner for the evening. Oh, right. Yeah, another remarkable fellow that I grew up knowing about was Portuguese Phillips. Portuguese Phillips was a scout for the U.S. Army based out of Fort Phil Kearny, which was a outpost in Sioux Territory, and I can't remember precisely where. And he rode through the most terrible weather to Fort Laramie, I think it was, in order to get assistance. And Portuguese Phillips' ride is quite famous. Phillips himself apparently was quite an unpleasant character, but it doesn't detract from the fact that he was he must have been extremely tough and extremely determined. And apparently it was sort of, a really, really bad winter. Trying to remember the name of the colonel who was in Fort Phil Kearny at the time. Who was it? I know that he was replaced by Colonel Carrington. Yeah, the whole story of Fort Phil Kearny is again quite remarkable, and again I grew up reading it. That's where I learned the names Red Cloud and Crazy Horse. There you go. Yeah, 236 miles through appalling conditions and territory not conducive to survival. Fetterman was the lieutenant who got himself killed before Carrington took over and before Phillips's ride. He was infamous for stating something like, "Give me 100 men and I'll ride through the entire Sioux territory." He went off to relieve a party gathering wood, I think it was, and fell into an ambush, and all 90 men were slaughtered. Carrington? Okay, so it was Carrington who was the first colonel. Who was the second one? Because Carrington was relieved and another colonel took over, and I can't remember the details. This is going to have to go into my thumbnails for YouTube. But yeah, no, the Old West is, I won't say full of stories like that. It is obviously full of stories that don't make it into public consciousness these days. But that was, for some reason, that was the kind of thing I grew up reading. That led me to reading a book I highly recommend, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by Dee Brown. If you want to, I'm going to call it a quick history of the Old West, specifically from the Native American point of view. That is well worth reading. Right. Let's see. What have I got on me? Oh, I can. I'll drop my sticks. No, drop my firewood at any rate. And I will pick up sticks on the way. I think I'm going to go up to the radio tower. I don't need the snare. Actually, I'm going to put that snare somewhere else. Nope. What else am I going to drop? I've got my cloth, I've got my sticks. I'm still under my 30 kilogram limit. I should take food with me. Oh no, I'm going to drop that downstairs with the others. And let's see. I know I've got bandages and what have you. Why am I carrying... Oh yes, I think I remember why. Yeah, let's go up the radio tower. Let's have a bit of an adventure. Which I will probably regret, but still. So I've got sticks, I need to take some food with me, and I happen to know that if I pick up... Oops, do I have enough water? No. Let's make sure I've got a couple of litres of water. And I will take... Oh, something just went ding at me. Why did something go ding at me? I have absolutely no idea why something went ding at me. I'll take a can. Right, radio tower. If the weather is conducive to that. And I would say that is not weather that is conducive to anything. I mean, this is positively unpleasant. Not going anywhere in this, I'm sorry. It's all too likely to be deleterious to my health. What am I going to do? Okay, well, if in doubt, resort to the usual, and that is make water. Because you can never have enough water. Oh. I didn't know he had 5 kids. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to do this outside. On the grounds that I don't want to get cabin fever. That should be enough. Yes, Paul Revere's Ride. What was Philip? Oh, his name was John Phillips. John Portuguese Phillips, I suppose. Another famous, well, not necessarily outdoorsman, was oh, Dixon. What was his first name? Made that famous shot after the Battle of Adobe Wells. I'm trying to remember. I actually read his book once, which was published by his wife, whose name I think was Olive. Oh, right. Billy Dixon, that's it. He was quite a character. Won the Medal of Honor. Or was awarded the Medal of Honor, I should say. Not for the Battle of Adobe Wells. For another fight he was involved with. Do you know what? I think we're going to head to... I'll just drop this water off. I think we're going to head up to the radio tower. No, he didn't. He... it was 1,538 yards, and he didn't kill the Indian. He knocked it off its horse and broke his arm. He didn't kill anybody, and it was pure luck. He himself says he just basically fired off in that... I won't say he just fired off in that general direction. He called it a scratch shot. He basically just unloaded on the off chance in that general direction. But it is famous. But no, he didn't kill the chief. But it did dissuade them. I can't imagine they were... Hang on a second. I just want to see. What have I got? Alright, that should be enough. Just in case. Where is... Oh, it's outside. Yeah. I'm not stinky. Ooh, bit overloaded. What am I overloaded with? Everything. Oh. Let's drop that. Right, let us see if we can get to the radio tower, and I think I'm equipped to spend the night out, so I'm not going to be too bothered by this. Yeah, he used, if I recall correctly, a 50-70, which wasn't his. He basically borrowed it from somebody, so he wasn't even familiar with the rifle. But now I know there's a wolf in this little glade over there, because I saw it in there killing a rabbit on one occasion. I'm pretty certain the wolves will steal your rabbits. I had 3 dead rabbits on the porch there at one point, and I did see a wolf sniffing around. I'm pretty certain wolves will steal your rabbits if you leave them outside. If I remember correctly, the leader of the attack on Adobe Wells was Quanah Parker, who was half Indian, half white. Don't think technically he was a chief. He led a warband though. But yeah, what human beings will put up with is can be remarkable. Have you read anything about early void? Whoops, that hurt.
That's a bit, but I'll make it.
Yeah, I'm just going to make it over here and sort myself out. Right. I wonder if I'm fit to make it up there. Probably the sane thing to do would be to not go up there. But my health is actually pretty good. So I don't think I can go up that way. Ah, look at this. There's a way up. How useful is that? Yeah, no, at that range he wouldn't have been. The bullet would have weighed an ounce, as I remember. And at 1,500 yards, I believe they actually surveyed it. Yeah, the velocity of the bullet at that range would have been minimal. He probably fell off his horse because he was so surprised. I mean, that's enough to make anybody surprised. You're overlooking the place where your battle didn't work and suddenly you get hit by a bullet. I have actually been hit by a bullet myself, but twice, but that doesn't really count. But it was surprising when it happened. I was at a gun range and we were shooting bowling pins, and the bowling pins we were using were full of lead, and so somebody shot a 45 at it during his particular turn to shoot, and the bullet ricocheted off the bowling pin, went past my ear, and ricocheted off the glass, and then hit me in the chest. That was surprising. Oh, come on, there's got to be a way in here. What am I missing? Oh, it's over there. I just went straight past. Ah, look at this! Oh, wow. Okay, this was worth the trip.
I could use this.
Firearm cleaning kit, revolver ammunition. Always nice to have. Another rifle cartridge? My goodness, this place is a plethora. Oh, another whetstone. How am I going to get down without killing myself?
Something's gotta go.
Yeah, I've already got a copy of that, I think. Now I'm overloaded. Heavily overloaded. Alright, is there anything else? I might stay the night here, actually. Let's do the whole crouch and search under everything. Why can't I find a pot? Oops. There we go. Huh. Nice views. That's right, yes. Well, I don't think he would actually have been killed, to be honest. I mean, at 50, at that range, that bullet would have probably been only going a few hundred feet per second. It would have been pretty much well out of steam at that point. I mean, it wouldn't even have been like a firearm, a handgun. But well, let's have a little look around outside. Seeing as I'm up here, I will drop off some stuff so that I can scamper around without being too overladen. I'll drop that. Okay. I'll use the wood tonight. The thing about history is, what do you teach? When I was a kid, I was taught things like the three great English battles of the 100 Years' War. So that would be Crécy, Poitiers, and Agincourt. And it's obvious why we were taught them. They're sort of part of the English legend. And of course, we won those battles, but we're never given the entire context. We're never told, for example, that we actually lost the 100 Years' War. We were never told that the British, before those battles, were basically acting like, what's the correct expression? Terrorists. They were conducting what was called a chevauchée, which was this policy of raiding the French landscape. And the goal is bizarre. The goal of a chevauchée was basically to terrify the locals, giving them the message that, your king is not protecting you. He's not stopping us from doing this to you. Think how much better you would be if we were ruling. So I didn't learn that aspect of British history until much later. If you were to teach, it's also very difficult to give a balanced view of history. There are no good guys or bad guys. There's just history, but we kind of insist on giving people this, or they used to, I don't know what it's like now, this version of history, which you then realize later on is not the same as reality. I remember we were taught about the Crusades. The context was never really given. And of course, the Crusades these days are sort of a bad word, but that actually, again, does not have context. So even today, people complain about, the Western Christians invaded Muslim lands and then took Jerusalem, which would be the first crusade. Nobody points out the fact that in the years after the Prophet Muhammad's death, Muslim armies essentially rampaged across the Middle East and Northern Africa and made it to Spain. Then they made it up through Spain into central France, and that was in 750. That they were kind of not exactly stopped, but they faced a Western army under, I think, Charlemagne at the Battle of Tours in 750 or 720. And there's some debate about whether that stopped any further Muslim advance. Nobody mentions that. So, the full context is far more complicated. And of course, whether in retaliation or simply because I don't know the reasons necessarily, Muslim armies out of, and that may be incorrect to say that, Ottoman armies out of what is modern-day Turkey continue to try and take large parts of Europe right up until the 17th century. I think the last attempt made was the siege of Vienna in 1668. So this whole the Crusades were terrible thing represents almost a microcosm in history. And in the end, when you're studying that kind of thing, you're not really in a position to say good or bad. You simply have to say, well, this is what happened, and here's why it happened. And I'm sure some people won't like the way that I just portrayed history. So, sorry. Reality is always messier and more complicated than people want it to be. Sorry. End of rant for now. But we even... no, not quite. We even concoct legends about people like Napoleon. Napoleon is relatively well regarded. For all that he got up to, he's still relatively well regarded. But Napoleon was in no way, shape or form a decent human being. He was quite unpleasant. There's certain language I won't use on this channel, otherwise I would use it. You can fill in the blanks there. Alexander the Great is another one who is lauded. He was one of the youngest generals ever. Arguably Joan of Arc was younger, but still. He conquered huge swathes of the world. And yet, while you can make an argument about why he invaded what was then the Persian Empire, his further conquests after that are a bit pointless. In the end, his army practically revolted against him, and in revenge, he took them back, headed back towards Greece via a very difficult route through desert and what have you, and a whole chunk of them died, and that was sort of his revenge for the army saying, you know what, you've really done enough, we should stop now. No, I didn't major in history. I only studied history up to about age 16, but I've read a lot of history since, most of which I have arguably forgotten, and whatever I say about history, it's always important to remember that there is nuance that I am either missing or skipping. I used to do a channel called Forgotten Aviation. In the end, that just got too hard. It was really hard work. But as part of that, I had to do quite a bit of research, because there might be an accepted version of a story. That's fine. And then you dig into it, and the reality is more complicated and sometimes downright contradicts the official version / legend. Which gave me a whole new appreciation for what professional historians have to do. I did a video once on, at my son's request actually. He wanted to know when the first tank battle was. And I can't remember the battle, but it was in, I think, April 1918. And the official version is, oh yes, essentially can be summed up as the British won that. And if you look at, well, the whole battle, yes, the Allies won. If you look at the circumstances surrounding the tank battle, then yes, the Allies won that. But if you look at the armour versus armour part of the battle, the British lost that. And yet it's somehow obfuscated. And I didn't just get this from I got some of this, by the way, from the I can't remember the guy's name, the tank commander in the battle. He reported on it, and his version is a little different from the official story. You get the same with individuals as well. I did another video on Raymond de la Roche, who was the first female pilot to be awarded a pilot's license. And again, even in certain histories, there's a version of her story that's given, and when you poke around a little more, you find that the reality is a little different. So it gets interesting. Oh, drat. Have I only got the one can? Oh, I know what I can do. Let's start a fire. No, I actually majored in computer science. Which in retrospect I really didn't want to do, but it was the best I could do at the time.
Turned out pretty well.
Do I not have... I'm pretty certain I've got... I do. Yes, I probably am a beast of trivia. Sometimes history, sometimes science. Some of it I don't know until I'm asked. At least it gives me something to talk to during these live streams. Talk about, I should say.
I need to drop something.
Oh, that was a mistake. If in doubt, cook water.
I need to find food.
We've got food. You just ate a can of dog food. Stop complaining at me. Yeah, well, there are always books that people don't like. I wouldn't say I revere books, but I'm certainly not in favour of ad hoc, willy-nilly burning them just because you disagree with them. People who burn books are never the good guys.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
$500, $250. Yes, 1930s Germany. Please don't tell me I'm about to suffer from cabin fever. Oops. Cabin fever risk. I spent almost all day outdoors, you. That's not fair. That's really not fair. Well, I shall sleep outside then. Can I sleep outside? I cannot. Oh, all right. I guess I'll just have to wait around a bit. Well, like I said, I spent all day getting here. Well, a big chunk of... Oh! No, I didn't spend a big chunk of the day getting here, did I? You thought it would have been enough. If I had an extra stick, I should have... I forgot to pick up a stick. It doesn't really matter. I'll pick up a stick on the way back and sleep outside. I wonder if I leave the door open, does that somehow count as outside? 61%. Ah. Oh, brother. I swear I didn't. This is ridiculous. Not happy with me, is it? I don't think I want to be clambering around stairs with a sprain risk. Where's the door? There we go. I suppose today's title, The Long Dark, What Fresh Hell? Yeah, what fresh hell is this? 63% cabin fever. I mean, I'm in this. It's not a radio tower, is it? It's a what is it? Forestry lookout. This is as close to being outside as you can get while being inside. Bloomin' cheek. Firewatch, yes. I would be tempted to play Firewatch, but I already, but back during COVID, I watched a playthrough. Yes, you can freeze, Mackenzie. It's good for you. The game says it is. %. Okay. You see? Him standing outside freezing in the cold is actually good. Oh, I just realized I've got... I knew there was a reason I started this early, apart from the fact that I get bored, and so I start early to make sure that I can get everything working. But I do actually have an appointment, so normally I would extend this to 2 hours and then to 11 o'clock local time. But today I am going to let him freeze for another 5 minutes, and I will end the game up here. And then tomorrow we will go back. I'm glad I came up here. This was a nice little excursion, apart from the cabin fever.
Can't feel my feet.
Oh, right. Here we go. I am constantly amazed by the number of people in Eastern Canada and the United States who will watch my live streams in the morning. Oh, Okay. It went down. Right. Huh. Alright, I seem to have sort of managed that. What's our weather like? Yes. Somehow this does not strike me as being great weather to go outside in. Fairly glad. Oh, right. Well, glad I could be mildly entertaining. Alright, I know this is about 3 minutes early, but this is actually a fairly good time for me to wind up. So, I shall wind this up. I will be live streaming later on at 6 PM GMT. If anybody's interested. Not sure what I shall be live streaming. My evening live streams tend to be a bit more what do I feel like at the time, but I've actually got to decide early enough so I can put notifications out on YouTube and schedule it on Restream. I might actually start the Long Dark in the next difficulty level for evening Long Dark sessions, or I might do something else. I'm not quite sure yet. If nothing else, if I do the Long Dark on Interloper, there should be some fairly interesting reactions from me to the method by which I die. Anyway. Yeah, not great weather equals... Yes, I know. I know. I can't win, can I? Worst comes to worst. Hang on, how much food have I got? Oh, no, 250, 500. Okay, I've got enough food for one more night, actually. Shouldn't have eaten the dog food. I did search everything, didn't I? I'm not missing anything. Nope. Nope, nope. I probably could survive another night here if I had to. I'd rather not. Well, tomorrow we'll tell the story. Hi, Jeffrey. I'm afraid you arrived just as I'm having to sign off. I'm sorry about that. But if it's any consolation, the character in game is about to go insane from cabin fever, so that should be fun this time tomorrow. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I think everybody watching is probably subscribed, for which I thank you, and if you're not, please subscribe and leave a like. I would appreciate it. And then I can start considering what I'm going to be doing for my 100 subscriber special. Anyway, I will see you all next time I see you. I hope you all have a good day. And I will see you all soon.